Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's Vin PF, and on today's episode we're going to be covering a Lakes Distillery bottling. This is the One and the Sherry Cask Finish. Now, before I get into that, it's been a minute since I did my last video. I had a couple of weeks off just to kind of look after myself, really. You know, December was quite intense. We did a lot of daily content and found myself, I'd lost a little bit of enthusiasm, but we're back in the saddle now after a couple of weeks rest and doing more reviews. So I am going to do my kind of whiskey of the month, but it's only going to be 2 bottles this month. So, you know, we'll get on with that as we do next week. On to this one then, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about how I picked this up, because one thing you'll notice about this is that it's Sherry Cask Finish. You know, I bought this at the distillery, in fact, and how I came to go around this. So we went up there to for a stag do actually, and I managed to kind of get in contact with the Lakes Distillery. We managed to book the boardroom for a good 10 of us to have a tasting, and they were kind enough to obviously put a tour on for us and things. And the tasting was sublime. You know, we had the kind of usual things that you would expect. Some of the whiskey makers' reserves. There was something in there that they wouldn't tell us what it was, nor would they let us take any samples of it. It was something super secret. I don't know. Maybe they thought I would tell you guys what it was, so they didn't tell me. They really wouldn't tell me. I did try. It was absolutely stunning. The thing that really surprised me about the tasting is they included this sherry cask finished, and even after, I might add that, after drinking the kind of whiskey maker's reserves, this one really stood up on its own and made itself known to me. Now, you guys will know, if you're fans of the show, if this is the first time you're watching the channel, then welcome, by the way. Please do subscribe. But obviously, if you've been watching me for any length of time, you'll know that I don't really vibe with sherry cask whiskies or sherry finished whiskies. You know, there are good ones and there are bad ones, just like any kind of version of whiskey or anything in the world for that matter. But I tend to shy away from them because I find them not really suited to my palate. But when I left the tasting, I bought 2 bottles, in fact. I bought the Bow Mask, which I've got, you know, coming up at some point. Not too worried about covering that because that's already sold out. So, you know, it'll just be a kind of fluff piece, I guess. But then we've got this sherry cask one, which I had to buy. And it's about sort of 50 quid. I think I got it £45 with my kind of £5 off tour voucher. But had to get it. Bit of a spoiler for the video, but it's it's really, really tasty stuff. Which is why I kind of, you know, I'm surprised at myself that I'm getting a sherry finished whiskey. In any case, let's get onto the actual whiskey itself. You know, I know some of you guys want to hear the tasting notes straight away, but hopefully you've been catching on with my videos that I've now got chapters below. So if you don't like the intro about how I got the whiskey and whatnot, you can always skip ahead to that. So we can talk about colour this time because, as it says on the box here, it's naturally presented, no added colour, and no chill filtration. 46.6%, which is a good ABV. We like that. And as I mentioned earlier, it's roughly 50 quid on their website. Not sure what the availability is like worldwide. Very easy to get in the UK. Very easy, especially online. So yeah, the colour itself is pretty astounding. This is actually, I should have said before we actually get into the tasting of this, the One blended vibe is about a kind of blend of the British Isles. That's what they say. Thankfully, now it includes Lakes Distillery liquid. The original, the One, did not. Of course, they couldn't. It wasn't 3 years old. We don't know what's involved in this. You know, British Isles actually encompasses England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. So yeah, they've got a wealth of things to choose from. I should imagine there's some, if they're including Wales, there's some like Penderyn and things like that in there. Who knows? But you know, they won't tell me, so you know, you move on from that and read into it as you will. That's the kind of vibe of that. The finishing period, they've got some in first fill PX casks and first fill Oloroso casks, and kind of obviously married all that together, which is where we're getting that beautiful colour from there. You know, that's really kind of PX led. You know, PX doesn't sit too deeply in the cask, so it really does influence the colour quite a lot. Let's get onto the nose then and see what we've got, shall we? Oh, it's just such an astounding nose. It's heaps of raisins, sultanas, but it's got a kind of like vegetal element to the back end of it. It's not like super prevalent, but it's definitely there. You know, it's kind of sweet to start with, and that kind of like vegetal element at the back end, like I say. Really nice. Love that. Not a hint of sulphur to be had in this, I might add. Not a hint. Let's get onto the palate. Lovely, lovely, lovely stuff. It's like dates, prunes, figs, all those kind of like those fruity things that you would kind of get on a mixture of PX and Oloroso. It's got a big kind of alcoholic pepperiness hit at the back end, which maybe kind of betrays a touch of youth to it, but in my opinion, nowhere a bad thing. I mean, obviously you can take a stab at how old the Lakes Distillery is, so at a bare minimum, it's probably that's it in there. I've no idea of the kind of ages of like the Scotch that's in here. There's bound to be some Scotch in here somewhere, but genuinely no idea. It really could be anything, but it's just lovely. The finish is kind of like, it's medium. I wouldn't say it's overly long. It's quite spicy, quite peppery, quite drying on the back end is something that I usually get on a sherried whiskey. And like I say, throughout the whole thing, not sulphurous at all for me, which is an absolute winner, which is exactly why I bought the bottle at the distillery itself. So yeah, I mean, I've had a bit of a kind of checkered history of lakes in the past. I think I've said this on a couple of videos now. The defining moment for me was when they brought on Darvel Gandhi, ex-Macallan whiskey maker, and I don't know what went on before that, but I always found the original releases to be a bit wanting, a bit lacking. And now he's making excellent stuff. He's making excellent cask choices and putting together excellent whiskies. My only criticism, I guess, of the Lakes Distillery right now is that although they've got their Whiskey Makers Reserve releases, especially towards the end of last year, they were really hammering out those releases, and they're kind of taking the sting out of them a little bit, I think. If you're going to do special releases, you want them to have a kind of big fanfare and a big bubble. But when you're only a couple of weeks away from the next release, it kind of, like I say, takes the sting out of it a little bit. But anyway, regardless of the point, to be honest, because I didn't get involved in many of those purchases anyway, just this Bow Mask, and I think I've got the Whiskey Makers 4 up there somewhere, I don't know. Yeah, in any case, if this one you've been on the shelf about for some time, then might be a good time to check it out. It is a limited run, but it's going to be around for a while, I think, and they've got all kinds of weird finishes as well, so if you're not into the sherry, then check out some other ones as well. I'm not sure if they've got a peated one. Didn't try it if they did. Would like to try it if they don't. Please do make that. Thank you, please. Would like to try that. They must have that in they'd be crazy not to have that in the warehouse somewhere. I digress. Do go and check this one out. Lakes Distillery, definitely firmly back on my radar now. We've tried some of their special releases, love those, and now we're trying some of the core releases, love those. We'd definitely love to see some more of their own spirit at a core range level, but that's another story for another day. Glad to be back recording videos. Hopefully you are too. Make sure you smash the like button if you do enjoy this sort of stuff. It'll really G me on and bring me back with that enthusiasm. In any case, I'll catch you again next week for more reviews, and of course my usual recording will be back up to scratch as of now. Thank you. See you again.